It would help if I was actually on stage, but sometimes it happens. What's going on, guys? It is not Wednesday, it's Thursday, and it's somewhere I have the time. There it is. It's 7:41. 7:30-ish. But hey, we're here, guys. Sorry I couldn't get on last night because work. It happens. I was traveling home, so I couldn't get on last night. I had to push our special guest to today, but he was gracious enough to still be able to make it tonight. So we're really excited. I'm really excited. If you don't know who I am Eugene. I am the host of the Geek Saga, and this is, still is two veterans, but the other one's not here right now. He is part of the activation that's going on, guys. If you guys don't know what's going on, LA's a little, but me and him are part of the Guard still, and we do get activated every so often. So for all my fellow soldiers that are out there staying in tents or wherever you may be staying, and that sucks, but I just wanted to pass the message that the chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has his pants down. John has his pants down. There you go, guys, for all you freedom fighters out there. I'm just kidding. Guys, I'm really excited to be here. I am like you do not even understand. Why are you in 16-bit? Lupe, thank you for noticing that and pointing that out. If I stay real still, you won't notice that I'm lagging. Unfortunately, my internet is all wonky. I was going to mess with it, but if I mess with it, you know what's going to happen? We're going to lose the signal. So we're going to have to go 16-bit tonight. It is what it is, guys. And next week, we'll get this thing all fixed up. But it feels good to be back on, guys, and it feels great. This is what I love, is being here inside this place, because I get to show off all this. And it's still not even done yet. There's another portion that I built today. I can't show it because it's not 100% finished. But soon, the camera will be more like this, and I'll be telling our news stories from here. And you'll see some really cool posters on this side. It's all kinds of cool stuff. It's I've been having a lot of fun doing this, so that's what I do. But I do want to get to our guests, but I do know that we got to do this like always, which is, of course, we got to talk about our affiliates that we have. If they still love us, I don't know, but we do love them because we use their product. So let's kick it off with good old Ulanzi. Ulanzi is a great company. I do love their products. I use their products, which if you guys see the color lights that are up here, the color lights, let's see, I'm trying to go slow so it looks like I'm supposed to do. Color lights over there. Those are all Ulanzi lights, guys. We love using their products. It's a great company. We use their cage on my DSLR that's right behind or right in front of me. So we use a lot of their products. We do love their products. So if you guys are looking for some great products that are lights and other like camera, videography type stuff, check them out. Use their stuff. Click on the link that's in the bio, and that'll send you straight to them. You purchase from them. Helps us out. Next, we've got Renegade Game Studios. If you guys don't know what Renegade Game Studios is, it's a great company. They got a lot of great games. They've got RPGs. They've got deck builders. Right over here is my Transformers deck builder game. It is a great game. Yeah, because it's on display, you may think I don't play it. I have played it. It's a lot of fun. But if you know how to play D&D 5th edition, you can play their RPGs. They've got Transformers, G.I. Joe, Teenage Mutant Ninja, or not Teenage Mutant, sorry, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, My Little Pony, and a lot of other great products. So check them out. Go to them. Links in the bio. Click. Check them out. Next, we've got one of my favorites, Legendary Supplements, Kraken. You guys see it right over there? Yeah, it's on the shelf. It should be lit up right next to the broom. Right there. But yeah, I didn't have a chance to kick on all these lights. So, but I do drink it. Oh, forgot about that, Mike. I do drink it. It's great stuff. It's a focus drink. If you're looking for something that's going to get you like that pinpoint accuracy when it comes to playing your video games, or even help you when you're working on stuff, that's the little drink to take. It's got about a cup of caffeine, so like enough, or a cup of coffee worth of caffeine in it, but more to actually get you focused on what you're doing. So Mojito Blizzard, Kickin' Mango Peach, Pumpkin Sour Grape, Mellow Melon, or Melon Mellow. What I can't. Check them out. Use the code GEEK77 when you go to their website, and on your first purchase, you get 10% off. All right. Last but not least, we are going to kick it off with or talk about Movo. Movo is a great company. The microphone that's on me right now is a Movo microphone. It's wireless. It's great. All our microphones that we have are Movo mics. We use them a lot. They're great. It's a great company. If something goes down, they're quick to replace it. That's what I love about them. Plus, they are actually reasonably priced for a great product. So if you're just starting out, or if you've been doing this for a while, check out Movo. Great stuff. All right, guys. So that's it for me plugging and being a hoe for all these companies. Yes, I did say hoe. I would use the other word whore, but that would be wrong, but I did. Anyways, let me kick this open because, you know, I do love drinking my liquid death. And I actually happened to get a tall boy of Dr. Death. This is like kind of like a Dr. Pepper type, but it's good. All right, so I've babbled enough. We want to bring in our guest because he's been so graciously waiting for me, listen to me babble, and he's smiling. So I can't wait to see his smile right now as we introduce him. So with like what we like to do for all our guests who's coming in, Mr. Robinson, tell me who is coming.
Who could that be? Let's see. This is how you answer a door in
Geek Saga.
Who is it?
What's going on, Phil?
How's it going, Eugene?
It's going good. I bet you've never been introduced by Mr. Robinson before.
Never. It's an honor.
I know. Like, people, like, I always watch everybody in the backstage to see their reaction because some of us that are obviously been around for a while remember that whole skit. I didn't want to say older because we're not older. We've been around the block a little bit, you know?
Yeah. We're mature.
Yeah. Whoa. I don't know if I'd use that word that loosely. Mature. We've matured on the outside.
Like a fine wine.
Yes. Well, actually, I did see this one quote that said, "I'm not aging like a fine wine. I'm aging more like milk. I'm getting sour and just chunky." So I was like, yeah, that's about right. So what's going on, Phil? It was, you know what? It was really awesome meeting you at, we met at Pasadena Comic-Con, right? Or WonderCon?
Yeah. Pasadena Comic-Con. Yeah.
Yes.
We did a quick little interview on the spot there.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun talking to you. And it was Ian is your partner, right?
Yeah.
Which, guys, if you don't know about their company, Diabolik LLC, they've got a great comic book, and that's why I brought him on. We talked a little bit about the comic, and also Ian's actually right behind you, as I can see on the cover. That
right. Oh wait, I'm all reversed. Yeah, he's right there.
There you go. He's right there. So and he's here in spirit with us. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, he's working right now, so he couldn't make it. Yeah, but
who work? What's this work stuff? We don't work, do we?
You know,
well,
gotta pay the bills.
I guess. I mean, shoot. But you know what? I plugged the comic last week too. We were like, I was excited
nice.
to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally was like, I pulled it out. I showed people, and then I told them how the great technology that you guys have put into this comic book to be able to do 2 comics in one.
The flip book technology.
Yes, and the thing is, the great thing right now is that because I'm 16-bit, it looks like I just did some magic and was like, what the heck?
I know. It looks like a trick.
So tell me about the comic because, I mean, yeah, Orgy of the Blood Freaks. Yeah,
That's the grab you title. Well, I could tell you like that character, the Professor Dario Bava character that features in Orgy of the Blood Freaks, and all the other characters in there, kind of sort of originally started in a music video that I wrote and directed for a band called Huntress, called Sorrow, where we just took the song and kind of turned it into like a 70s 80s Italian European like vampire movie, and we had so much fun doing it. And I named the character that Ian played Professor Dario Bava as a reference to Mario Argento and Mario Bava, two great Italian filmmakers in the horror genre, that we decided we had to keep the character alive in some way. So I started writing ideas about this character who's kind of a vampire hunter, a monster slayer, but he also used to be a Vatican exorcist until like the Cultural Revolution of the 60s hits, and he kind of tunes in and drops out to join a time-traveling super hippie called Future Chick to fight monsters and save the future of mankind, kind of thing. And I wrote so many different little like character sketches and ideas that we decided, like, I did a pitch to a company because we made an animated teaser for the idea to start out, and we almost got a green light, and then they kind of got scared because and the costs. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna like keep developing this idea in another medium. We'll do it because the shooting the animated teaser was expensive. So we were like, let's do something where we can show more of the artwork and develop more of the ideas. So we decided to do a graphic novel, and the first one was called Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension. And that was kind of an anthology that introduced like the backstory of Professor Dario Bava and Future Chick and another character that we love called Major Bitch, who is like a post-World War II sort of army brat who was traveling Europe and fighting monsters and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And that we did a Kickstarter campaign for that, and it did really well. And we were like, wow, this is great, you know. But the problem was we got the book back from the printer just as the COVID lockdowns began. So we couldn't really do events. We couldn't really go do signings or anything because nothing was happening. And we decided, well, in the meantime, why don't we just continue this? Because we can't go out and shoot stuff right now. We can't, make more of it in an animated way. It's just too time consuming and expensive. Let's flesh out one of the main stories that I wrote, which was Orgy of the Blood Freaks. And we started doing that. And I had the bright idea of saying like, hey, why don't we also, like, since we already know people liked Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension, which was the first Professor Dario Bava graphic novel, why don't we introduce another character that I've been thinking about, Gringo Loco? So we decided, sure, why not? We can just split the work up. We can have a different artist do each one. I'll write both and I'll color both. But, we'll have it be a flip book so that people can get two ones. Fans who already liked Professor Dario Bava would get introduced to a new character, and maybe that could be something that people liked, and it turned out it was. Once we could start going to events again, people love that flip book, boy. I mean, I have one here too. I don't know if I'm as jagged as you are, but
whoa. Oh no, you're perfect. That's the great thing.
Whoa. People love it. And we were like, I was like, it's like a double feature. It's like, when I was a kid, I would still go to there were still drive-ins where I lived.
Yes.
Like I would go to the drive-in with my parents and you get two monster movies at the same screen.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like my homage to that part of my life. And also those movies that I loved, which were kind of like cheap horror movies, but I loved them. A lot of them were really sexy. They were all pretty gory, so this was like my chance to add to the double feature world in comic form. And I was surprised by how many people just reacted to the format alone. Like people who have no idea what we're doing, like when we go to a monster convention like Monster Palooza or Midsummer Scream, they're more horror conventions. They're not straight comic conventions, you know? And just horror fans in general would be reacting to that like, oh my God, this is so great. This is so fun. And that's how we've slowly and steadily built our kind of audience for the books. And now we're on basically the next double feature is on a boat right now on its way here from the printer. So we're excited to release that next month. It'll be out. So
hold on.
Uh-oh.
I'm shifting things around. I shouldn't be doing things like that. Okay, there we go. I was trying to shift, actually, because I just opened up the PDF, and I was trying to shift it back here so I can get the cover of.
On the screen.
Yeah, so I can have it back there. But yeah, it's never good to do something live and think it's going to work. Because then you're just like, oh yeah, it might be back there, but yeah, no, sorry, I was listening, and so it's on the boat, hoping to get here by the end of this month.
That's my optimistic appraisal, I think, and then we have to send out over 200 of them to our Kickstarter backers, who I love, who help us make these books. Because I don't know if you're aware of the comic book kind of kerfuffle that happened over the COVID thing, but like Diamond as a distributor kind of fell apart and they owe a lot of people money. And then other options started to emerge. There's other distribution channels. We were never really going that way because when we looked into Diamond for like national distribution, not even international, the cost to you as an independent publisher is so much higher because you have to provide like an excessive number of books, and you don't get as much for them in the shops. So our attitude was, well, let's just build this as locally as we can in California. California is a big ass state, we can drive to a lot of different conventions and meet people and introduce this, because the one thing we learned at comic book conventions is like, people gravitate towards the things they know. They're not as interested in things they don't know or have no understanding of. So it's good if you can be there in person and introduce people and walk them through it and be like, this is where it comes from. These are the ideas, I was inspired by this, and this. And people be like, oh, I love that stuff. We'll, give it a shot, we'll give you a great price, try it out, it's retail sales, like basically, and when it's your own thing, it's like pitching in a movie studio, but it's pitching to people one-on-one, to get them excited about it. And it's usually the art and the cover artists that we have who are really great. People start to they respond mostly to the art. And then later we hear from them like, oh my God, I love that story, or I love that story, or I love them both, but this one was my favorite, and that's been really great and really rewarding personally, Yeah.
And I did, like I was telling you, that as soon as I got home, I opened it up because I was like, I want to read this book. And I was already automatically thinking, I want to get you guys here, get you guys on the show itself, because there we go. Look at that.
There we go. That's the Murder Vibes main cover. Yeah.
That's actually, I like that cover too. That's a great cover.
Yeah, that's the inside artist did that cover. The variant version of it is the one there, which is by Manuel Taglietti. Yeah. But that one, the Taglietti one, sold out almost right away because he's a famous Italian artist. It was he has, his fan base keeps growing even though he's just turned 83. His fan base is massive now. So we got him to actually do the main cover for the Orgy of the Blood Freaks #1 book, which also sold out, and we're on the second printing of that one already.
Wow,
which is great. Yeah, we were really stoked about that.
That is awesome. That is really awesome.
Because we're small, we don't have national or international distribution. We're basically like a couple of shops around the country have asked for our stuff, and we'll just send it to them for nothing. Like, here, try to sell these. Like, you can keep the money. We don't care. Like, we just want to get it out there. For us, it's promotion. Like, and in California, we go to any event that we can kind of make it to and not spend the night if we don't have to because of the money of it. But we build the audience that way, and then now people see us at events. We just did Monster Palooza here in Pasadena, and that was a great one. It was one of our best years for it because we had people coming to us who knew that we were going to be there and had already read the books and were wanting the new one or asking about when's the next one or who's going to be the cover artist and do you have any more of that sold out variant cover. And it was great. We had one a couple came, a middle-aged couple came, and they were telling us like, our son is a huge fan of your stuff. And we're like, what, really? Like, yeah. And we're like, why didn't you bring him? Well, he's on the spectrum, and we just wanted to come to the event and check it out on our own first and let you know that we were going to bring him on the next day. And, if you have anything else that he doesn't have, maybe, and we're like, well, what books does he have? And he had the first graphic novel. He didn't even have the newer stuff. So we're like, okay, great. But I dug through our shirts for the Kickstarter campaign. We had 1 or 2 extras. I brought him in. And sure enough, they brought their son, and he was super sweet and just telling us how much he loved Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension. And how he made himself read it in small bits so that he wouldn't read through it too fast because he didn't want it to end. Oh. And I was like, oh my God, my heart's breaking. Like that is the sweetest thing you could ever hear. And then they bought a shirt. They bought a new book. Well, the Orgy of the Blood Freaks flip book, and then we told them the new book's coming out. We'll let you know as soon as we have it. It was just really sweet and really encouraging, when you realize like, oh, we're putting this stuff out there, even if it's just locally in California, and people really are responding to it. So that's great. I mean, we do have people who buy it all over because it's on our website, ProfessorDarioBaba.com. So people can get the books there, but it's like the kind of marketing that bigger publishers have. We don't really have that, we do a little bit of social media marketing, but for us, it's whenever we do a Kickstarter campaign, that's when it's, that's when we really promote, and that's when we really build our audience a lot. So we're hoping to do that maybe by the end of the year or early next year. We're going to do a second edition of the first book, Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension, because it's sold out. And we're going to add, I'm writing a new story for that. We're getting a new cover, and we're going to reprint a classic cover and turn that one into a flip book as well. So the second edition of Murder Vibes is going to be another one of these bad boys. Woo!
High tech. I'm telling you, it's high tech. The other awesome thing about, like we were talking earlier, it's great to have social media. It's great to do these live things like this where we're, able to like get more, I wouldn't even say more people, but just getting you out on like YouTube and all that stuff. But it's the in-person that is so much better. And it's also the fact that you and Ian are awesome. Like to meet you guys, to talk to you guys. I'm not joking. Like I mean, I do say that to a lot of people because, you're awesome. No, but honestly, like the interview I had with you guys was a lot of fun to talk to you guys and meeting you guys. So it's like, man, I look forward to seeing you again at another event. And I wanted to get to Monster Palooza, which I was like, damn, I can't.
Oh, man.
I was looking at your Instagram and I was like, I'm jealous. I am seriously jealous because it looked like it was a really cool event. So
it's really fun. I mean, if you've never done it, I say you can do it in a day. If you're not going to do celebrity signings or anything like that, you can go through and have a really great full day at Monster Palooza. I mean, people do buy weekend passes and stuff, but I think that's mostly if they want to go to some of the presentations because they also have screenings. They have signings, they have photo ops, they have all this stuff for like diehard horror fans. But it's been up and this year they put us in a different spot, and we were like, at first we were like, oh, that might be bad, but it was actually much roomier kind of where we were. And we were all the way at the back wall of the event, but we were right on the main aisle. So we ended up seeing, everybody could see our banners, right behind me. And they would just come up, we had new people, and then we had all of our not old, but all of our current like audience and fans coming over because they want to get whatever new stuff we have. And so it was really great. I mean, this was one of our best years at Monsterpalooza. It's too bad you couldn't make it, man. It was fun. It was a really good one.
Yeah. Well, instead I did something really cool. Not that what you did wasn't cool. Actually, I actually went up to Santa Cruz.
Oh, nice.
Because seeing how you say you're a horror fan, so then you've seen The Lost Boys.
Yes, of course.
Of course. I mean, it's
more than once.
Like, but for our generation, it's like that's one of the staple movies that we have to have in our wheelhouse that we've seen. But we actually drove up there to Santa Cruz because that's Santa Carla. They filmed, so they were doing a movie on the beach, and the first movie for the summer was The Lost Boys.
That's great.
So got to sit right there on the beach, right by the steps where they went down on their dirt bikes, and watched the movie, and went and saw the sights.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. Not to say, and again, not to say anything that Monsterpalooza wasn't, because believe me, I would have loved to have gone too. But that I got to do that, so that was really cool. But so drive-in grindhouse style movies that were a thing for you. I mean, and that's kind of we could tell by that's what inspired a lot of this. So growing up, were you? And I always have to say this because some people get all like, were you a geek growing up? Because I definitely was, like 100%. Kid you not?
I was a major geek growing up until I kind of like hit my growth spurt in like middle school, high school, and then I tried really hard to be a cool kid, but I was still playing D&D and watching horror movies and doing a ton of art stuff. And like, I never played football because my parents wouldn't allow me to, because my uncle had played football and gotten hurt. And so I was kind of like the, I tried to be the cool, smart kid kind of kid. But the nerd never left. I mean, I've been like, I have those same passions always, because I think it's just, you're just interested in art, and you're interested in creativity, and you're interested in ideas and things that are not the everyday stuff, it's not, I never liked, the TV at the time, which was like cop shows and doctor shows and things like that. I wanted Twilight Zone. I wanted Tales from the Crypt. I wanted, I wanted cool stuff. There was that show, The Dark Room, briefly.
Oh, yeah.
There was some cool stuff like when we were growing up, and then it was that whole boom of like low budget horror and stuff that you would see at the drive-in. Like, there was still a drive-in in my town when I was growing up, and I would go with my parents. And then when I got to be a teenager, I would actually sneak into the drive-in with my friends, because the drive-in that we would go to was next to a cemetery, and you could go into the cemetery at night and go to the train tracks in the back. And if there was a train coming, the train tracks led right to the drive-in, and you could just go through a hole in the fence from the train tracks into the drive-in, and then your buddies meet you there with their cars full of beer or whatever, and you hang out and watch the movies.
That's seriously cool. Like, I mean, the only time I ever experienced driving was going with my mom, or my dad. So I never really did it as a kid or as a teenager, but they just tore down. I mean, well, it's the last drive-in in this area. They just tore down the last drive-in about 2 years ago. So even up until about 2 years ago, I was still going to the drive-in, and I would like, amazing. Yeah, I took my daughter because one, when she's like 5 years old, she's not going to want to sit in the seat, even though she was pretty good about movies.
Yeah.
But the experience of going to a drive-in, having all the blankets right there, going to the 7-Eleven down the street, buying all the junk food, even though you're not going to eat it all, but you got the selection, and then you got pizza, and we just would set ourselves up and we would watch 2 movies. She's out by the end of the first movie, but I was like,
yeah, that's what's good about it with kids. Like they can just fall asleep, like crash out. It's fine.
So, so you said you played D&D.
Oh yeah.
So, like, when was the first time that you actually played D&D? Do you remember that?
I think it must have been like 13 or something like that. Like I didn't get into it too young, but my friends started playing it in middle school, and then I got into it, and then I got some of the books, and then because I'd always liked writing and art and stuff like that, I almost instantly prefer to be a DM versus a player character, because I get to write the stories and like take my friends on a story that I had kind of written, or a little like a quest. So I would DM for my friends. We would stay up late, like this is like middle school and freshman year of high school. We would meet up for like a sleepover and just play D&D all night. And one of my friends, we played at his house, and we were playing and we got the munchies. Like this is before we were even like stoners or anything. Like we were just kids, and we're like, well, let's go. Your parents are asleep. Let's just go to the 7-Eleven and grab something. We'll get some cookies. We'll get some candy, and we could still keep playing, And it turned out that town had a curfew. And on our way there, these cops pulled us over, and we're like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're walking, and all of us just started running. We ran through the weeds of this like empty lot. The cops chased us down. It was so ridiculous. Just a couple of nerds playing D&D, going out for like snack food.
They
brought us into the police station. My parents got called. It was just embarrassing. But it was like, what are they doing? Are they drinking? Are they smoking drugs? It's like, no, they were just trying to buy sweets to keep playing D&D all night.
So you actually walked away from the table and ended up on a real life quest.
Yes. Hiding in the weeds at night. Oh my God, they're actually coming after us. I can't believe it.
Oh man, that's funny. Hey, that tops anything that I've done, because I've never been chased by the cop. Wow.
That memory sticks to me because it's just so ridiculous. It's like, what?
Oh, that's
Sugar
awesome.
is a hell of a drug.
Seriously. But I love the fact that they're just like, no, they were going to go get candy. Is that the new word for drugs? Because I mean, damn it. No, candy, man. All right.
No, my parents were then like pissed. They're like, what? Kids can't go get candy here? What the hell? What kind of place is this?
Oh man, that's funny. So, all right. So you got D&D under your belt. Were you reading comics back then also?
I was, but I was like trying to read the hardest stuff I could find, like heavy metal. The comics back then, heavy metal comic was like, that was the taboo comic. Like I wasn't that into like the superhero comics that much. Although I did have some Marvel stuff, but it was more like the Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night. Like I love the horror stuff. I liked all the horror stuff if they did it. And that's why I loved heavy metal, because it was like, oh wow, this is like sexy and gory and like scary and sci-fi and horror. And I also liked eerie and creepy when I could find those issues. They were just black and white, but I still loved them because they were all the things that I liked were in those books. And then as I got older, I subscribed to heavy metal for years and kept reading those. And I got into later on, I got into like Dan Brereton's The Nocturnals, which was kind of that was one that I kept referring to as I got more into like making, because Dan Brereton, he's an indie comic guy. I met him recently at Son of Monsterpalooza last year. Very nice guy. And his stuff was like, what I really liked about it was that every panel of the book is painted by him. So they're all gorgeous, like pieces of art. Every single panel is like a painting. And he mixed genres. It was horror, film noir, detective stuff, all in like a kind of H.P. Lovecraft sort of universe where there's alternate dimensions and monsters crossing over and things like that. So the Nocturnals was like a big one for me. And what other ones? Like later on, yeah, I mean, Corbin was also a guy I loved, basically because he had done a lot of stuff for heavy metal, and then I started buying his collections. I still have them. There's the werewolf one that he did, which collected all the werewolf stories he had done for all these different comic books. Some of them full color, some of them black and white. Richard Corbin, and his art just totally blew me away. Like, so many cool like levels to it, and he did so many different styles. Like, not everything was his airbrush psychedelic style. A lot of stuff was just very simple pen and ink. Like he did The Boy and His Dog, the comic book version of that, not the sci-fi movie. Yeah. But he did that, and I think he did the Bigfoot one too with what's his name, Rob Zombie. But Corbin was like a big influence to me. I actually took the size of our oversized book from a Corbin book, which was I think it was a Sinbad book, which was like all these Arabian Night type stories and Sinbad stories with monsters. And it was this size. And I was always like, that size is great. It's like, it's basically magazine size. It's just slightly, it's like a 1/4 inch smaller on each dimension. Because I never really liked the comic narrowness as a designer. I didn't like working in that. I liked working in more of like, because when you open up a spread in one of these size books, you
get a lot.
It's more like a movie. It's like 16 by 9. It's like a nice big spread. And so I just decided, hey, if I'm making my own book and this is going to be independent, I'm going to pick how we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it Richard Corbin style, and we're going to make it awesome. So those were a lot of the main early influences. I really do like the size of it, because again, like you said, showing some of the art. I mean, we get a lot. Yeah,
we get a lot in this.
Well, that's what Corbin would do too. He would just basically load up the page with amazing panels. Sometimes he would have no dialogue or any writing at all for pages on end, pages and pages and pages of just art. And that's how I wanted to do the beginning of Gringo Loco, where you haven't met the character yet, but this guy who we see is fucked up in a lot of ways. We don't see his face until about 8 pages or so in, 9 pages in, or whatever it is. And there's no dialogue the whole time. It's just page after page of just scenes. We're seeing this scene unfold as they hang this guy. They put a hood over his head so we can't see his face. They hang him. He's there the next day, and a kid is watching him, and he's snoring. And the women come out of the brothel, and they're like, "What's the ruckus?" It's like, he's snoring, and we see the guy's hood is on. He's hanging from a rope, and he is snoring, and the kid's like, "Oh my god!"
And the first thing he asks for is a cigarette.
Well, he says, "You got any whiskey first?"
That's right, the whiskey.
And they're like, "Well, how about a cigarette?" And the kid's got tobacco and rolls him a cigarette. Yeah.
I really do love it. I mean, it really does give you that grindhouse feel to it, just from the kickoff of the cover.
Yeah.
Like this is definitely, I would love, honestly, to have this as a poster back here somewhere. Like I would definitely put that up because I really love it. And then the alternate cover, which looks great too. But either one.
That one, the one that you like that's Dave Kendall. He's a British artist. He does like Judge Dredd book, and he does like 2000 AD stuff. And he was one that we liked because he still does painted covers, like fully painted. Which all of our covers are basically fully painted. The only one that is a mix of digital and painted is the new Robert Samlin one, which it is all line art. I have the inks. We released that as a special preview issue, the inks for that cover of Orgy of the Blood Freaks 2. But he does a lot of finishing in the computer on Photoshop and stuff. And so does Suspiria Vilches, who did our variant cover on Orgy 1, and who is coming back for hopefully 2 more covers.
Really?
Well, she and I have been friends from years ago, like when I was still mostly doing music videos. Still do music videos too, but not as much now. But she and I connected over the music videos I had done, and she had sent me artwork when she was still doing tattoos and toys and stuff. And I always encouraged her, like, you should really develop this. You could do a lot of stuff with comics. You could do cover art. You could do illustrations. And over COVID, she just stopped doing the tattoo. She's like, I'm retiring from it, Phil. I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. She's like,
wow.
I really want to pursue the artwork stuff. And now she is blown up incredibly. She's doing covers for Marvel and DC. I mean, like, she's doing covers for everybody right now. And it's amazing, but she's still like, we're still buddies. So I was like, Suspiria, everybody keeps asking, I call her Susie, but everybody keeps asking for your cover that you did, your variant cover. We only printed 125 of them, and they sold out like that. And now people are asking for them all the time. Like 5 people asked us at Monster Palooza, like, do you have any more of our Suspiria covers? And like, they sold out, but we're gonna have some new ones. So I asked her, she's going to do, we have 2 more on deck, and hopefully she doesn't get too busy and she can do them for us, but we're going to start working on one later this summer together. So I'm really psyched about that. Yeah. The artists that we work with is really key, and it's really important. And it took us a long time to find the specific people we wanted to work with that would evoke that era and that style, because we didn't want to make it. There's a lot of modern books that are sort of very clean and very kind of they look digital in a lot of ways. The coloring looks digital, the artwork looks too clean, and we wanted it to feel more like the stuff that I grew up on, which was, like I was saying, like the eerie, the creepy, the hand drawn, Tomb of Dracula stuff and Werewolf by Night, but even more like the Richard Corbin stuff, which is like, or the Dan Brereton stuff, which is like every panel looks like a painting, So we wanted to keep it as analog as we could in general. And a lot of those older artists, like Emmanuel Taglietti, who's now 83, a lot of them are dead already. And that's kind of sucks. But Vicente Alcazar, who does the inside art for Gringo Loco, he actually did, like, he's 80, and he did the original, like, 70s run of Jonah Hex. He did Conan. Wow. He did Vampirella. He did Moon Knight. He was like a penciler and inker in the 70s and 80s for a lot of big books. And he is amazing. Like, the art he does for Gringo Loco is so cool. That's another new book we're releasing this year. Is we're doing an ash can that has all of his pencils for Gringo Loco 1 and Gringo Loco 2, plus the character design sketches and some concept illustrations he did. And just it's basically a big 96 pages of an ash can. We're doing the ash can size, the traditional ash can size, which is 5.5 by 8.5.
Nice.
But it's gorgeous. It's going to be perfect bound. Because that we did do an ash can for Gringo Loco 1 of his artwork, and that one sold out right away too. Is because artists who didn't care about my writing or my coloring, they would just see that book and be like, oh my God, this line work is amazing. This guy, who is this guy? And I'd explain, that's Vicente Alcazar. He did this. They'd be like, oh my God, I just want this book. Is that cool? I'm like, yeah, my feelings aren't hurt. You're still giving me money.
I'm not going to go in the corner right now and
no, it's fine. Maybe you want to come back and buy something more, if you like that. But that one became like a surprise. There's two things that we have that are like, we call them our gateway drugs, because people are not they don't care about the comics. Like, they just care about the pencil line art, or they care about a funny gag gift. Because we also have a coloring book. Well, it's called an occult activity book and spirit board in parentheses. And that's also on its second printing, which is also almost sold out, because that one is people like, I love to color, like adult coloring books, and they don't care about the comic part. They're just like, I just want this cool, adult coloring book. And that one does really well. We also built in a lot of things into that one too, not the flip book thing, but the inside cover of that one is like a Ouija board, but you have to rip the pages out to use it. So we're like, you must sacrifice the book to liberate the spirit board. And people love that because it's just a simple, like, funny gimmick, Yeah. But that one we did over the COVID lockdown when we were working on coloring Orgy of the Blood Freaks 1, but we wanted to have more work for our artists who were all kind of struggling then because there wasn't much happening. So we're like, hey guys, we'll do this campaign where we pay you this much to just give us the line art, okay? But if the campaign hits a certain goal, we're going to pay you double that. And we're going to call it the Double or Nothing campaign. And we tried to convince backers to buy 2 books, and we actually did it. We were able to raise enough money to cover our costs and pay all of our artists double. So it was kind of a fun project that turned out to be one of those things that people will buy nothing else but the occult activity book. They'll be like, well, I don't care about comics, but I do like to color, and this is funny. Or my friend loves the color, or my mom loves the color. And people will ask, is this okay for kids? We're like, it's for kids 21 and over.
Yeah, why would they think it was? I mean, it's a coloring book. I get it. And if it was
Bob is on the cover, Professor Dario Bob is on the cover with a big like crayon, but it looks like a kid's coloring book, but it's not.
Which I saw that I saw that too. But I did see that when I was there. I was like, man, that looks actually really cool. I was gonna get it, but then I was like, I'm gonna hold up. I'm gonna have to order that from you guys when you guys reprint that, because I really would like to have it. I'm telling you, like, I've got room back here to put stuff up, and I want to put, especially for those of like the guests that I have on, I want to put your guys' stuff up on my shelves. So I already have your sticker.
Yeah, I'll make you some prints. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I got your guys' sticker on my little fridge over here too. I was like, bam, nice. There we go, and put it right there. So I'm telling you, man, I like had a lot of fun talking to you guys, but also love the comic and everything. So again, we go back into the horror thing because you keep mentioning you're a horror fan. So I've got to ask, do you have a favorite horror movie? No, that's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't really have favorites because it changes over time, and I like a lot of things a lot. I think I could say like this year, I really liked Sinners, obviously. Yes. I think a lot of people like that movie. I like that because it played with genre and it had different things going on and it added some new stuff to like the folklore. I like that a lot. I think in terms of overall horror, I mean, it would probably go back down to like Alien, because that I saw at a young age and it was like really traumatizing.
Yeah.
and The Shining, I loved The Shining too. Like, I love the filmmaking in The Shining, and I love kind of the overtop creepiness of The Shining. And then if I think of more recent ones, it's hard for me, like, because I watch a ton of them, and then I don't know if I really liked them until I end up going back and watching it again. I'm like, oh yeah, I did love that one. I mean, creepy, scary stuff is like, it's so in the moment. Like, I did watch something that I thought was cool recently that wasn't a movie, but it was a show that I thought was creepy and had some cool ideas in it. Midnight Mass on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
That was a really cool modern, like, it's kind of like Salem's Lot, but it was also had a lot of the Christian ideology stuff in there. It took some of the ideas that I had already been writing about, and I'm like, oh shit, they already did it. You know, like the using vampire as sacrament, like that was an idea that I already had in one of my movies. One of my short films played with that idea, and I was like, oh damn, they did it. They did it the way I was going to do it, because I was going to expand that into like a feature idea, but they kind of already did it, and I was like, oh damn, I got to wait a little time, but then I'll maybe come back to that one. And then there's another one that I watched that's a streaming series called has a terrible title. It's called From, From. It's on Amazon, I think, but through MGM Plus streaming.
Okay.
It's made by the people who did Lost, at least one of them, and one of the actors from Lost is on it. And it's a little bit similar to Lost, but it's also like The Twilight Zone and Salem's Lot, and all these horror ideas are in it. And it's basically, the premise is this family who's going on a road trip hits this tree in the middle of the road and decides they have to turn around, but they keep turning around and driving through the same town, no matter which direction, no matter which road they come to. And the people of the town seem a little bit weird and out of it. And it's because the people in the town were also on road trips from all different parts of the country, and they've all ended up in this town, and they can't leave the town. There's no way to get out. And every night in that town, these demonic human-looking creatures who transform into like vampire monsters hunt them down and kill them. So every night you have to stay inside and be quiet, and they come and they knock on your windows and they try to taunt you, especially kids. They try to get kids to open the window and invite them in, because they can't come in unless you invite them in. And it's really creepy. And it's especially the first season of it. There's only 10 episodes per season, but that was cool because it's really, especially season 1, the pacing of like the revelations of like, what is this town? Who are these people? And the town is split up into 2 different kind of cultures. One is this like hippie commune where they grow weed and food, and they're like, hey, we're going to live every last moment to the fullest because we don't know when we're going to die, because this place is kind of hell on earth. And then there's the town proper, where it's more like rigid rules and curfews, and they're trying to get the hell out of there, trying to figure out any way they can to get out. And it's like this culture clash. It's really interesting. It has a lot of Walking Dead in that way too, where it's like different people adapting to sort of this apocalyptic idea. But that was a cool one.
I'm gonna have to, honestly, now like you piqued my interest with it. I'm gonna have to go check it out because it sounds actually really cool. So
it's pretty cool. I liked it. And then the next season's coming out next year, I think. There's like 3 seasons now. But yeah, that one's fun. It's also like TV a little bit. It's not like nonstop horror. You know what I mean? I liked Talk to Me. I didn't see their new film. The guys who did Talk to Me.
Which one was their new one?
Their new one is it's slipping my mind. Something about her. Don't let her go, or
let's act like we're really thinking hard and not trying to use the internet to see. Let's see. Talk to Me was done by Danny Filippo. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to click on it. Talk to Me. Bring Her Back.
Bring Her Back. That's it. Yeah, I knew it had her in the name. I've heard that's really good. My friend saw it, but they were like, it's not super horror, but it is really creepy and dark and depressing. So,
Well, it's done by A24, which A24 puts out a lot of crazy movies. And
They
actually
do.
pretty, yeah. And
I
just
didn't- what did you watch?
oh no, from A24, which I was shocked that they made it, which was that Warfare movie.
Oh yeah.
And that was done really well. And yes, it's a war movie, and normally I don't watch very many modern like war films, especially because what I do, and because I get it. You can't put the uniform just perfect, but it bugs me with changing things around. I'm like, all right. But what?
That was
Anyways,
made with the help of a vet, of like real,
actually,
made with like real people. Yeah,
it was made with all the survivors.
yeah.
All those dudes were there. Most of them, actually.
Wow.
I shouldn't say all. Most of them were there on set, telling them exactly what happened.
Yeah,
And when they
that's
came
cool.
out of the building, they're like, "This is how I moved and I looked and that was really cool." And that movie was shot so like it was quick pace. I didn't even realize that I had been sitting there for an hour and a half, and it was already over. I was like, "That's it? All right, cool." But A24 has been pumping out some really good movies.
Yeah,
that are shot well, written well, and acted well. So
there was one that I just saw, the Death of a Unicorn one. That one wasn't so great, but
okay, well, they can't all be hits.
No,
I actually wanted to see that. I wanted to see it because I was all like, I like, I
it
like
has some good things in it. It's just overall, it's not great. It's like, oh, okay, I finished it though. A lot of times I won't finish if I don't like something, because we have so many choices, and if something's really rubbing me the wrong way, I just won't. Time is too precious. I'm not going to bother. But that one I did finish because I'm like, it's got that like, this is over the top crazy, and we're talking about real live unicorns and But every idea that it inspired in my mind while I was watching it was better than what the actual movie turned out to be. So it was a little bit disappointing, but it's got Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. It's got good people in it.
I'm more of a fan of Paul Rudd. Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
So, but like for horror film, for me, it was more of I loved Alien, which scared the crap out of me because I was a little kid when I saw it. Because my dad's like, "Oh yeah, we got cable. You can watch whatever you want." It's like,
then they're like, "Oh my god."
It's like, what am I watching? I'm going to watch it again. I don't know what it was. But
I watched it with my Italian grandmother on HBO, and she was like, "What is this?" She had no idea. She's like, "Oh my god!" Freaking out.
Oh man! But I did love The Thing. That was my go-to.
The Thing is a classic. I love the John Carpenter version. Yeah.
Yes.
That one is amazing. Yeah, that one too. It was never that scary to me. That one to me was more like, this is a sci-fi thriller where like the paranoia thing was what really got me in that one. It was like, you don't know, like people didn't even know if they were a thing or not. And then, that idea of like not being able to trust everybody who's around you, that kind of closed environment, that stuff I thought was really, really scary and really, really well done. But for some reason, I think of that movie more as sci-fi than, which is weird because Alien is sci-fi too, but that's like a haunted house movie. Like they're being stalked by, like there's a killer on the loose kind of thing. Some supernatural monster thing that they have no understanding of. The Thing was outstanding. I mean, I saw that at a drive-in the first time.
Really? Okay.
Yep. American Werewolf in London too, around that same time. That was another good one that I liked a lot when I was young, because that mixed like the horror and comedy, but it was still scary, his friend showing up dead, like, and decaying more and more as he went. When I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, that is really frightening. to imagine that, like, you'd see that, you'd just be hanging out and there's your dead buddy. It's like, whoa, that was really impressive at the time. It still is. The makeup effects in that are amazing, you know.
Well, I mean, to this day, there hasn't been a werewolf change that matches what they did in that movie. I will say that that was
that one, and The Howling too, which came out same year. The Howling also had a great. It was a different type of transformation, but The Howling, that one aged a little bit better, I think, overall. Like, because The Howling is also a satire. It also has a lot more of plot ideas going on about like self-help communities and like this commune, but they're all werewolves, you know, spoiler alert, for a 40-year-old movie. I lost you. I can't hear you. do 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 do. Do some hold music. Is he back? Technology, kids. A blessing or a curse?
all right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. Jeez. See, back in the day when we actually just would sit next to each other and have conversations, it was so much better than technology. It fails you every time. There's your lesson, guys. For today, technology will fail you. Knowing's half the battle. I wish I could have the G.I. Joe thing go across, but
the more you know.
Yeah. Oh man. It's been great. It's, you know, it is what it is. But what was I gonna say? I see things like that just derail what, like, that train of thought.
We were talking werewolf movies, The Howling.
Oh, werewolf movies. Yeah. Okay.
American Werewolf. And we were like, yeah, they haven't really done it better than those two movies since,
like,
you know.
Like the stretching and the cracking that you hear of the bones, and like he's in pain in American Werewolf.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it was a great movie.
Oh, it was kick ass. And back then, I mean, it was mind blowing. It was like, oh my God. It was like when Star Wars came out, you know, when I saw Star Wars when I was really young. It had just come out, and that was just like nothing I'd ever seen before in my life. I was like, what the hell? And then, you know, a few years later, it's like all these like amazing major horror movies, you know. There was a great transformation in that Cat People movie too. That was just like, really disturbing. Yeah, I mean, that was a really golden era. I mean, I did go to see like the Friday the 13th type stuff, but I was never as into slasher movies as I was into more monster or supernatural stuff, you know, because I don't know, a killer walking around in the woods in a mask was just not as, I could see why it was scared people, because it's like, oh, that feels like it could happen, you know. But as like a monster kid and a D&D guy, like I really like to see monsters on the screen, not so much a guy in a mask, you know. And I didn't really care about like, oh, campers getting slashed up. It wasn't like it didn't engage me on as many levels, you know. I would get into it and have fun with it, but it was not like, I didn't walk away with anything after those movies, especially as the Friday the 13th series kept going, and it was getting dumber and dumber. You know, it had some highlights, you know. It's funny thinking about it now, but
I mean, when you think about it, it's like this dude is walking about as fast as my grandma, and he's still gonna get you somehow. It's like,
Oh, that reminds me. Did you see In a Violent Nature last
no,
year?
I
mean, that one is hard to recommend because it's basically an art film, is what I consider it. But In a Violent Nature takes the idea of a Jason type character, a undead killer, and it puts you in his basically POV. Mostly,
Okay.
it cheats, but it's a lot of just lumbering through the woods. Like, it's almost like a video game or third person where he's here in the frame and you're behind him just seeing this forest, and he's just slowly walking through the forest for like 5-10 minutes at a time.
Oh my
and
God.
You're just hearing all the sounds all around him. I mean, he can also put you to sleep. The first time I tried to watch it, it was late at night, and I was watching it here in my place, and I was like, it was almost like, what is it? ASMR. There's just kind of like, oh, woodland sounds, and I just kind of zonked out. But it does have really epic kills. Like, the gore is like extreme when he does kill somebody, but it's a lot of him just walking. You get the point of view of like, what would it be like if you were Jason? You're just wandering around in the woods all the time, listening to hear if there's a camper nearby, because that's what happens. You slowly hear like dialogue come up in the soundtrack, and then he'll kind of POV will turn, and he'll just start going towards the dialogue, and the dialogue will get louder and louder and louder as he on the it's interesting. In a Violent Nature is worth checking out once just to see, because it's also experimental in that there is no music, nothing, which is usually what these kind of movies have. Like, that's what gets you amped up, is like the soundtrack. There's no score at all. It's all diegetic. It's like if the campers are playing music, that's the only music. It has nothing to do with like scaring you or making you nothing like that. So it's interesting. It's an experimental film with epic gore. But it is slow.
So I should probably drink an energy drink to keep me awake during this film, because I'm going to just be sitting there and it's like, okay, I'm walking, still walking.
You almost want to grab a joystick at a certain point, because he's just like, he's right in the center frame and you're right behind him. It's like a video game. You're like, okay, well, what's happening? There's like no plot. Nope. The plot is basically he comes back from the dead and starts killing people. That's the plot. You can. Oh no. I can't hear you. Call tech support. I'll show you guys the book. Dun, 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 dun. Look at that. Ooh, scary. This is a good one. Ah! Art by Mike Dubish. Colored by me. Painstakingly. And Gringo Loco.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I should be checking batteries. I should be checking batteries. I should be checking. What I need? I need a producer or an assistant. So that's what I need. Just throwing it out there.
Throw it out to the universe. See who shows up at your doorstep.
Anybody out there that wants to do this for free? Oh
Well, I
man.
do like the setup. When it's done, it's gonna be gorgeous. You know, it's gonna be the setup's looking nice.
Thanks. I mean,
Primo.
I've been doing a lot of like what you can't tell is that it's kind of it's kind of an olive drab because it goes with our theme. And then I'm giving it a like military style futuristic design on a lot of this stuff. So
Space Marines.
yes,
Aliens.
the space aliens. Yeah, oh, that's the movie that I really loved as a kid too.
Oh
Aliens.
my god, yeah. That was kicking ass.
I had the
It's more of an
pleasure.
action movie than a horror movie, but yeah.
Yeah.
That movie was badass. Yeah.
But I had the pleasure of meeting Michael Biehn at
Awesome.
WonderCon. Super cool dude. We just started talking, and then I met Rico, who played Frost, the guy that got all the ammo put into his bag and then blown up. I got to talk to him actually at PasadenaCon. He was there.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, super nice dude. Really cool dude. Got to interview, like quick little interview. So it was fun. But that was a great movie. Like, love that movie. So,
and you know those guns that they had on the arms? Those are like Steadicam. Those were like old Steadicam arms that they just put a gun on. Yeah.
Those things were like, when I was a kid, I was trying to make those things out of cardboard because they were just like the coolest thing in the world. I'd be running around with just a big old box, and I'm like, this is cool. But Phil, I know we've been on for a good amount of time, which is awesome. I don't want to let you go because I know we probably can keep going down these rabbit holes of all these like the horror films, because like as far as the horror genre, I'm more of a zombie film.
I love zombie movies too. Dawn of the Dead, I bought on VHS when I was young, before you could even, buy. It wasn't even commercially available. It was available for stores. But I saved up money and spent like $60 on a VHS of the original Dawn of the Dead because I loved that movie. But again, I didn't find it scary. I thought it was just super fascinating. It
was a cool concept to think that these guys are stuck inside of a freaking mall of all places.
Yeah,
and they just start living there, and it's like it's almost like a kid's dream because you're like, I could
exactly.
Just go
it's kind of this weird like apocalypse fantasy. Yeah.
Yep.
Where you're like, oh, you can have whatever you want from anything you want in the mall.
You know what? I really did like the remake of it by
I did too.
Was Zack Snyder.
Yeah, right? he directed it and James Gunn wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really cool take on it too. And I really liked how it was. So, and I know that like as far as like Night of the Living Dead, they did the original and then they did a remake, which it was all right. That was done in like 80, I think it was like 88.
Yeah, it was okay. I just did the lead actress didn't, she was kind of flat, and that kind of spoiled it. The effects were way better. Obviously than the Night of the Living Dead one, but her performance kind of makes that movie not so rewatchable to me. Like I think I watched it twice and I'm like, oh yeah, she's kind of bad in this. She didn't really have that much of a career after that, I don't think either, but I don't know. I mean, the original Night of the Living Dead, I saw that after I saw Dawn of the Dead, because Dawn of the Dead was the first one that I actually watched, and I was like, holy shit, I love this. This is so crazy. Evil Dead 2, the first Evil Dead that came out, that was at that time when I was a teenager, early teen, preteen. When I rented it from the video store and watched it, it scared the shit out of me. And I invited friends over to watch it for a sleepover. We're like 14 years old or something. And it freaked us all out. You look back on it now and it's kind of funny because it's so low budget and so kind of cheap and cheesy. But that was also one that totally lodged itself in my brain and I loved it. And I've read books about how it was made. I was super into it, and the Bruce Campbell book about it is hilarious.
Oh God, yes.
When his first like autobiography, he talked about the production of that movie, and then all the
Yeah.
commentaries they do where they talk about it on all the DVD releases are hilarious as well. But just how many years it took, and how much they reshot stuff, and how many times they had to put each other in the monster makeup and shoot scenes in somebody's garage in Michigan, and it's just, as a filmmaker, it was like, oh my God, this is fascinating how they actually made this movie. But before I was into any of that stuff, just watching it as a movie, because it was in the video store, and it would be like Stephen King being like, there's some quote from Stephen King, like the most ferocious American horror film of all time or something. Then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get scared. And then you watch it, and it's like, back then it was legitimately scary. And then Evil Dead 2 came out, and they kind of took the piss out of the first movie. You know, like they were like, okay, we're now making it more like a cartoon. It's going to actually be kind of funny. And Evil Dead 2 was much funnier, and it was the filmmaking was much better.
Oh yeah.
But I still love the original Evil Dead, and I like the remake too. The remake, for what it was, it didn't have the heart of the first Evil Dead, but it was ferocious. It was mean. It was, you know.
I mean, all the ones that followed it were pretty. I mean, it felt like they were doing gore for gore's sake on like the other ones to follow, but they were still pretty decent. They still kind of fell into the world of the whole, of Evil Dead. But yeah, that movie poster stuck in my brain, the original Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Because every time I went to the local video store, you can see it, and it's just like, somebody reaching out and they're being pulled down. I was like,
yeah,
I wonder what that is. And then just like you, when I finally saw it, I was like, holy crap, this thing's scary.
Yeah.
And then I saw Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, it's not as scary, but it was still pretty good. And then of course, Army of Darkness, and you're just like,
that's a total comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's total comedy, but it's so great. I mean, so many lines that still stick to this day, like, this is my boomstick. It's like,
yeah,
I love that.
The Bruce Campbell over the top stuff. Give me some sugar, baby, and all that.
Oh
shit.
Yeah, love that stuff. It was great.
And
but
I'm afraid you're gonna have to leave the store.
It was a great movie still, even though it was like so cheesy, but it was done that way. That's the great part about it. But you talking about filmmaking with watching the first Evil Dead. Yeah, when I saw that, and I've always been interested in filmmaking. Like the behind the scenes stuff seemed to be a little bit more interesting to me than the whole movie itself. It's like, and people are like, well, that takes the magic out of the film. Not for me. No. It actually is seriously cool to see how they moved. They did these shots, or they use these different techniques to do this, or they built models for all that stuff. I loved.
Yeah,
and
me
to
too.
this day, I still do. I still love it.
Yeah, and I love those old types of special effects. Where you're making miniatures, or you're doing stop motion animation. And a lot of my music video work, we employ all those kind of old school techniques because I just like it better. I know some people think it's cringe or cheesy or whatever, but to me, it's like it's handmade films. It looks like people cared and spent time making something. I know that CGI and digital animation all takes time. I'm not putting down people who do that work. I'm just saying from an aesthetic appreciation, I loved Ray Harryhausen movies when we were young.
Yes.
All the stop motion monsters and stuff, Clash of the Titans and Seventh
I just
Voyage of Sinbad. Yeah.
Yep.
That stuff looks cool to me. Like, I still think it looks cool. It looks like movie magic,
Oh yeah.
It doesn't look realistic, but it still looks cool.
I mean, seeing the Kraken come out of the ocean, and it's kind of like jumpy at moments, but dude, it was still cool. I was like, that's the freaking Kraken. And to this day, I still say, release the Kraken. If you guys don't know where that's from or what I'm referring to, don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Definitely look
Google
it up. Yeah, you guys got that there Google. Look it up. But I see now we're going to end up going into a whole other hour if we keep going into filmmaking, but I definitely would want to have you come back, and I would love to talk about all the stuff that you guys have worked on, because I know that you've done a lot of stuff with Ian as far as your filmmaking, and we didn't even touch on that because
no. But people can find out more about it. Like I have a YouTube channel that's just my name, and that there's on there's a playlist of music videos and short films we've done. We've done music videos for like Metallica, Disturbed, Korn, mostly metal, because that's the closest thing to horror and sci-fi is metal stuff. So we've done a lot of that. We just did a High on Fire video last year that was nominated for best metal video of the year. That one's more like sci-fi. But yeah, filmmaking's really fun. I mean, I just love making stuff. Like,
yeah,
I like doing film. I love doing the books. This year I'm doing a lot of writing for the new books, and writing a new story for Professor Dario Bava. So, and I got to do Gringo Loco 3 because Vicente Alcazar keeps nagging me about it. Phil, when are we gonna go back on the trail? What's going on with Gringo Loco? What's happening with him? I want to start on it. It's like, I'm sorry, dude. Life's getting in the way, but
that's cool to have the artist coming up to you and being like, "Hey, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. I want to do this."
I know. Well, I think also too, because he's getting on in years. Emmanuel Taglietti is saying the same thing to me. He's like, I just turned 83, man. I don't know how much longer I can go. And I'm like, are you just trying to get some work out of us, or are you being honest? Because it seems like he's doing fine. But I feel like, to me, it feels like he's gonna live to be 100.
Oh wow!
Who knows? I mean, I feel great that they want it. These artists want to do this work. Is like a great privilege and honor to me, because I'm like, oh, thank you. Because it's so hard to find the people that connect with the material the way that I do, and whose artistic style represents that era that inspired me and that gave me a lot of these ideas. So I've been really lucky in that regard. Thanks to our we also have a third member of Diabolik, is Dan Simpson, who really is the guy who's producing this in terms of reaching out to the artist, making a deal with them, trying to turn them on to the stuff we've already done. So he gets us these great cover artists and inside artists, and more or less just shows their work to me and says, well, what do you think of this guy? And I'll be like, oh, hell yeah. He was worried about Vicente. He was like, Vicente Alcazar, I don't know what you're going to think, because, he did that legendary run with Joan X in the 70s, and maybe you think that's too similar to Gringo Loco. And I'm like, what? No, that's awesome. That's great. If he wants to do it, yes, please. He'll make it different. It's a different character. It's not the same thing. It's just a Western, So yeah, I mean, I'm really fortunate that we also have Dan and Ian and these great artists. And, I hope I get to meet more people from this podcasts too at any events, locally. We're going to be doing Midsummer Scream. We're going to be doing CreepyCon Aftermath out in Ontario, California,
which is down the street from me.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah. Well, we'll be there. And if you're in the Valley next weekend, I'm going to do the Valley Block Fest. I'm doing that by myself with the We Can Be Heroes comic shop.
I'll be there.
Oh, you'll be there. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
We're gonna be setting up kind of some of the stuff that I have behind me. I'm gonna do a kind of a panel, and we're gonna do interviews and stuff there. So
great. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be there solo, so it might be hard for me to get away. But we'll see. I'll come and see you anyway. I'll just leave my booth.
Well, I don't know if you went to it last year, but it's not very big. It's a very small.
I went 3 years ago or 2 years ago. It was like the second or third one they did, and it was on the other street. It wasn't where they're doing it now, because they got this one postponed. The whole drama that happened where they got it. The city kind of Yeah, that was kind of lame, but it sounds like this new location's a little bit more, kind of nice. It's going to be more on like a campus, but that'll be fun. Hopefully, it's not too hot.
I'll take the heat over what we got last year, which was, we call it Chatsworth Hurricane, because it was, oh my God, like, I don't know where it came from, but it just hit, and it hit hard. And I don't know if you know Carlos Ferrero. He's the voice of Dom from Gears of War.
Oh wow!
But he also does a bunch of other voices. He sat up next to me, and we just started chatting, and we started hearing the rain just coming, and it's the wind's flapping and all this other stuff. And he leans over, he's all like, "So are you going to stick around? Because if you stick around, I'm going to stick around too." I was like, "All right, Carlos, we're going to stick around. We're going to hold this down until this thing blows away or it ends." And we stuck it out. It was a lot of fun. He met a lot of great people, which was great for him. But I was soaked because I had to walk all the way down to my car just to bring it back to where we were, and like literally just soaked because I wasn't prepared for that. So it was bad. It was really bad.
That's rare too. Like to have that kind of a rain, like in Chatsworth too. I mean, I love the crowd at that event, and I love the We Can Be Heroes guys.
Oh yeah, Julio's
awesome. Julio's awesome. They're all awesome. Donald, that whole crew is great, and they've been really supportive of us. So anytime that I can do it, he sent me that invite to that, and I was like, should we do it? Should we do it? Because we knew we wouldn't have the new book yet by then. But it's just like, for him, I would do anything. I love those guys. But that's cool. You're going to be there. I'll see you there.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing about this event is that we don't get our typical con people.
Right.
We are going to be, we're exposed to all kinds of people because they all just walk through, and then they see what
are just there to go to the beer garden and watch the wrestling,
Yep.
And then you can just tag them after, because we get that a lot at Midsummer Scream, because Midsummer Scream's also like very, we'll call it festive. They have multiple bars that open at 10 a.m. and the vendors section is kind of in the back. So by the time people walk over to us, it'll be 11 a.m. They'll have tall boys. They're already getting loaded, and they'll see our booth and be like, "Ooh, what's this?" And we it's very easy to pitch people. This is like an adult comic book. It's and they'll just want it for the artwork. They'll be like, "Oh wow, this looks sexy." But it's fun.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm great. Now I'm really looking forward. I mean, I was already looking forward to being there, but I'm looking forward to it because then I get to see you again, and that'd be really cool to hang out a little bit more. But all right, Phil, lay it out. Tell us everywhere that you can be found, where they can pick up the comic. Go. It's your turn.
All right. Pitch. You can follow us at Diabolik LLC on Instagram. You can get the comic at right where my name says Phil Mucci, ProfessorDarioBaba.com. You can get the books there. You can get a couple of other things there. We do have like a t-shirt sale going on right now of some of our older designs that are they're both mostly sold out, but we have some XLs, we have some smalls. And you can follow us on Facebook, again, Diabolik Films. And comic shops, We Can Be Heroes in Chatsworth, and a couple other places around town, but they're all sold out right now of our stuff. Mystery Shop is another one, which is up in Oxnard. We're going to do a signing there as soon as the new book's out, because they're great people too. We met through We Can Be Heroes. We'll probably have more signings and stuff to announce once we have the books in hand, because when they're traveling, it's hard to know when we're going to get them, because there are no exact tracking until it hits the port, and then we can get our books. But that's basically it. And cool. ProfessorDarioBaba.com, if you sign up for our email list there, which you'll be prompted to when you get to the site, you get like free stuff right away from us. So you can get like the Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension, our first graphic novel. We did a black and white version of it which is just all the inks, not any of the coloring. But it has all the inks and all the writing in it. But it's like a free pen and ink version of that book if you want to check it out. And the Occult Activity book, our coloring book, is on there. And this book is on there still. Just the variant covers are sold out. And a new book you can pre-order on the site, and you get it when you pre-order it, you get a free digital version of the book, so you can read it right away before you even get the physical copy. So that's
cool.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right, Phil, if you want to just sit tight for a few minutes, I'm going to close out the show, but it was awesome. Honestly, it was awesome to have you on. I mean,
thanks, man. It was great.
I'm not going to lie. I learned a lot about a lot of these artists that you're like mentioning, because it's like, never heard of that guy, but it was cool because now I can go back and actually look up a lot of this stuff. Because I mean, like I said, I love the vibe of the comic and I love the artwork. So now it's like, I'm going to go back and have to look up some of these artists to see more of their work. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Spread the love. All right. I'm going to take you down. Let me close the show out and be right back with you. All right.
All right. See you, everybody.
This is Phil. All right, guys. It was awesome having Phil on from Diabolik. I'm telling you guys, I got home and I wasn't lying. I did get right into this one. I mean, I read both of them because it was like, okay, it's got flip book technology. So, if you guys get that chance, get over to their website, pick up their magazine. You guys go to cons and they're there. Tell them I sent you. Tell them I said hi. Buy a book. Buy the activity. Buy everything. Just buy it all. All right? I'm serious. Get it all. And plus, these guys are awesome to talk to. So check them out. But that is it for me, guys, because it doesn't matter what time it is right now because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. So I'm happy about that. But next week we will be back. No guests, just me, news. We'll get back into some more geek history, dive into whatever we have, and whatever news is coming up. I mean, we're rolling into summer and getting those summer blockbusters coming out now. Mission Impossible came out, did really well. Lilo and Stitch made up for that god-awful debacle they call Snow White. But so we're going to have news about that stuff, whatever's going on in the news right now. But that's it for me tonight, guys. It's a lot of fun to be on, as always. Guys, check us out at, of course, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. We are on Facebook. We're just not live streaming on Facebook. All at the Geek Saga. If you guys want to get a hold of us or get a hold of me and talk to me and have an idea for the show or want to pitch your comic book on the show, why not? If you guys want to talk about it, hit me up. Let me know what it is. I'll check it out. If you guys, do short films or whatever, again, hit me up. We're always open to, we want to help out you guys out there that are trying to get going. Jump on, go, do it. Hit me up. Also, hey, guys, I wasn't kidding. If you want to join this great world of podcasting and live streaming and filming, hit me up. It's all for free right now. I know it sounds like, well, really? Yeah. Because we're trying to actually expand what we're doing. We're going to be doing something more. This is actually going to be turning into a pilot for a show, and with yours truly. But we also have some other ideas that we want to do. So, guys, hit me up. If you guys are, do camera work, can do graphics, can do social media, can be in front of the camera. Hit me up. We'll talk and we'll see what happens. See when we get going. All right, guys. So come back next week, Wednesday, and I am saying Wednesday at 7:30 for more of this fun stuff. So come back next week, same Geek channel, same Geek time-ish as the saga continues.